I've seen it banned quite a few times in solo queue, and he just really can be a lane bully, and um, he was instrumental in that team fight in the late game. I mean, that was a great shockwave, but the follow up from Nar just disrupting the whole team right after that was what allowed them to sort of clean it up. So, and of course, how far ahead he got in the laning phase.
Well, both the top laners had a pretty heavy impact that game, but it really was
Yep.
up to Brandon for really initiating all of the fights, and that's what they were able to do in the occasions that Cognitive won that one. I think they might try to go for something like Malphite again. You think if Maokai's left on the table, that might have to be considered.
Yeah, I do agree. They might try and get him a better matchup this time. But like I said, Malphite can do more with less. So the fact that he got so far behind wasn't that big of a deal because he didn't really let it affect much. But you could tell just the vision control that Zenith had after a certain point, especially around the top side of the map, was just so much in their favor just because of that. And this time they're actually going to get Ryze first pick right off the bat. So that's going to be a big deal because Ryze is a very highly contested pick and one of the strongest top laners, I'd say. And he actually can be played in the mid lane as well. Pretty strong mid laner as well, but almost certainly that's going to be up in the top lane for Brandon.
With that locked in as well, it leaves Xerath and Kha'Zix open, prompting Grenier to go ahead and go for hovering the Rengar right now. So they don't have to pick the jungle just yet. They will get a Thresh as well. A lot of supports were left on the table this time, even with Zilean and Janna banned away on the blue side. Cognitive looking for a much stronger comp this time, and they might deny pick the Orianna. This would be a really interesting composition from them.
Yeah, and you really have room to pick up the Orianna in this lane, especially going against the Xerath. It's going to be a pretty passive lane. Neither of those have too much kill potential, especially early on without jungler intervention. Xerath is a champion in the mid lane that can be very hit or miss. He can completely dominate a game by himself and just make it carry his life a living hell. But at the same time, he can also be completely shut down if he gets behind early game. If he falls behind on farm, which is a big deal for Xerath, if he gets pushed out of lane early on, he can really be a liability, especially going into the mid game. So we're gonna have to see how well Easy plays that. But with a passive lane opponent in Orianna, a relatively passive lane opponent in Orianna, he should be able to be alright. It looks like Love Level's hovering over Ignite as a summoner spell, so we'll have to see if that's going to be the choice that he goes with when he locks it in.
So far, I don't want to say this is super standard, really, for Zenith. They are taking a couple of interesting picks right now, hovering on the Rumble. And this would be an interesting choice to try and kite away from Ryze. Instead, they go for the Maokai pick. So that also leaves Alex the Man to lock in Caitlyn. If I recall correctly, Alex was, once upon a time, a pretty big Caitlyn player.
Yeah, and Caitlyn is sort of a champion that's been falling out of popularity. Especially we saw it at Worlds, but there's been a couple of changes, especially with Tristana. She's had a few nerfs, and so the focus on AD carries has really gone, and especially with the Randuin's buff as well, the focus has really gone more towards mid-game AD carries as opposed to the late game. And Caitlyn is sort of just a lane bully. She's picked when you think that the opponent is going to pick something that is going to allow you to bully him out or free farm. And I mean, with what's left on the table, you can almost be certain that Zerbeck's going to pick the Corki or the Lucian, which Caitlyn can do pretty well against. And so we'll have to see how he does on a relatively underplayed AD carry, but something that Alex the Man is very, very familiar with.
Also, the Rengar does finally get locked in for Grenier, so that fills out the roster here. The Lifesteal lane complete in the bot side, and all that's left is to see what K1 does go for. Janna banned away, Zilean off the table. They could go for the Morgana. They do have plenty of tanking, and they have a very kite-centric composition between Xerath and Caitlyn. See if they do flesh that one out.
This team comp is really scary from Cognitive. They have the submarine initiation with the Shockwave Rengar ultimate combination.
And Ryze, too, when you think about it.
And Ryze, yeah. And it's so tough to be able to deal with this type of team comp. They have strengths at most of the stages of the game. Their ganks are pretty on point, and Ryze is just going to be a menace if he's allowed to farm in the late game. So I really like this team comp from Cognitive. They really built it out and were able to take a couple of high impact picks and make it into a solid team comp. Now on the other side, Zenith, this combination of Maokai and Xerath is one that I think a lot of people underrate. Xerath, he's played sometimes in some regions, but only by certain mid laners. Bjergsen from TSM plays it a whole heck of a lot, and he's one of those players that can really dominate a game as Dareth. And those champions, those initiation champions that can lock down players, that can lock champions in place for Xerath to be able to land those ticks of his ultimate and land his abilities easier, is really huge and instrumental to the fight. Because if you land a Xerath stun, that stun is long. That can lock up anybody for a long period of time and can really allow some great follow-up from your team. So I'm really looking forward to see what Easy's going to be able to do on Xerath, especially against a dangerous team comp that can really shut him down with this Rengar Orianna stuff.
And that being said, if they're able to protect that backline, I mean, they have a lot of weapons themselves. Maokai can really enable the Xerath ultimate to land almost indefinitely between his various forms of CC. You've got the slows and the knockups coming out of Nami, a little bit of slow from Kha'Zix. I mean, they all have like a light form of CC at the very least, and that should help Zenith a little bit if they play their positioning right. But you're right, Cognitive is a very, very scary team to deal with right now.
Yeah, the one thing that could be a little bit of an issue for Zenith is their power of initiation. They have sort of this mishmash of styles of champions on their team, but their only initiation really is sort of like a flash W from Maokai, or landing a wave, which is easily dodged by a team. Disengage is going to be where they're going to shine. They have a great siege team, and they have a great ability to disengage. So if they can get in a position where they're pushing down turrets, they're sieging turrets, they get a lead early on.
Sieging this tournament?
Sieging the tournament. They're going to siege the entire tournament. Sieging the turrets, and they can get in a position where you're forcing the enemy team into a position where they have to engage, or you're going to take objectives. They're going to be in a pretty okay spot. It's sort of a really interesting dynamic between the team comps, because Grenier is going to have to find these openings, while at the same time Zenith is going to be looking to avoid them, but at the same time find a way to disengage and maybe turn a fight around. So this should be a really cool game to watch.
Yeah, see if they can pull it off. Will Cognitive take it to game number 3? It will be a 2-0 shutout for Zenith eSports. You're going to have to find out after a little bit of a break. Guys, we'll be going to that, but do not go anywhere, because you are watching the Black Monster Cup playoffs right here on ESL TV. All right, we are on the riff for game number 2. Zenith eSports spawning up in the top right corner of their opponents. Cognitive Gaming, down 1 game. Can they bring it to a game number 3 in the series? Spawning down on the left, and both teams out of the gates pinging away for that bot side jungle.
Yep, and the level 1 last game was a little bit rough for Cognitive. Level, it looked like he suffered from maybe a little bit of lag early game, and just sat in a bush and gave up the first blood. Almost as soon as Zenith entered the jungle. He did make up for it in the mid lane with a great counter gank from Grenier, but I think Cognitive's going to want to get off to a little bit better start than they did in the previous game.
May have the composition to pull that one off this time. Looks like we'll see the much more defensive, conservative start that these teams tend to pull off when they don't want to engage in anything really crazy early on. Right now, Zenith eSports will have a little bit of an easier landing phase, I think, but it's anybody's guess going forward how this one's going to play off.
Yeah, and a very passive start from both teams. No decision to make an invade from either side. Just standard vision across the river, and it looks like we're going to see a standard start. There could be the possibility of a late invade from Zenith, as all 5 members are gathering on this bot side, but they are going to be spotted out by a ward regardless of which jungle entrance they decide to go for it.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to double up on defense right now, and nobody on Cognitive seems really interested in making any such moves at all, so this is going to be a very, very standard start from both the teams. Zenith playing this out incredibly defensively, but here they go. There's the 5-man invade right now. And, well, that ward did expire. They might just sneak through here.
Yeah, that's very well timed, and this is going to be bad news.
Uh-oh.
They see it.
Oh, there we go. They run off this one. All right, so no level 1, no first bloods just yet, but they might give up this red buff if they're even interested in taking it. 4 members here. A little bit of an awkward start. But here we go. It's going to be fought over right now as they try to zone Grenier away from this one. This might could go down any minute, and it does. Going in favor of Mimo, so they do manage to sneak that one out. And if he rushes straight for his red buff, he might just 3-buff start on Grenier. Up, teleport up to the top for Solo King. Nothing wasted.
Yeah, so just a little bit poorly timed ward on the side of Cognitive. They could have waited a little bit longer to place that ward to make their vision a little bit safer across the river. But just perfectly timed by Zenith. Waiting for that ward to expire, going for the late invade on the red buff, and that could have turned out really bad if they didn't execute it properly, because they were giving Brandon some soul time up there on Rise. And that's definitely not something you want to do, but they're able to secure the red buff, get out of there. Solo King uses the teleport to get back to the top lane. Only loses a few CS, so overall I think probably a net gain, as long as Mimo can do something with this buff steal early on.
Yeah, well, Grenier doesn't really seem interested in going over for the red take on the opposite side, so whether that's just not a jungle path that he chooses to take or not is completely different, but so far that red's going to stay there. And Rengar not necessarily known as the earliest ganking jungler, but Mimo on the other hand might just be making early moves, getting himself a little bit of a jungle invade. He might run into Grenier and see if he wants to take it. Nope.
You do have to keep track of Rengar, though, because as soon as he hits level 6, especially with the combination of Orion in the mid lane, that could be really deadly. Those level 6 Rengar ganks from anywhere, they have so much follow-up on this team. The Rengar should be good at landing that improved Bola, almost 100% every time they come out of stealth, unless there's a really fast reaction time from their opponents.
Separates the good Rengars from the bad.
Yeah, exactly, and that's something that a lot of Rengars had trouble catching on. That's why people had so much trouble in North America with that. They just weren't engaging properly on Rengar and making use of the ridiculous amount of CC that he can put out when he uses his ultimate.
Speaking of proper engages, Easy takes a little bit too much poke in the mid lane as he does try to return some of that onto Love Love. A potion's popped on both sides, and down in the bot lane, Alex the man narrowly avoided being thresh hooked, but it's a dangerous game to be playing, getting very, very close to a lifesteal lane.
Yeah, Love Lava is really putting out some damage, like you said, in that mid lane, and that's...
It forces Mimo here, too.
Yeah, it's going to
takes time out of his jungle pathing.
Yeah, he is going to get some experience, but that's going to take a little bit away from Easy, and Love Lava is going to be in a pretty good position in that lane. What he wants to do is keep the pressure on, keep Easy in a spot where he's sort of on his toes, so that way, once they do hit 6, once he does get that support from Rengar, they're going to be able to take him out. So he was trying to blow his flash early on to be able to time that, but it's not going to happen. Calls in Mimo for some support, and looks like we're back to square one. But a bit of a CS lead for Love Lava here as we're getting to that level 5 mark.
Yep. Grinny has just been happily farming away while all this is underway, just kind of trying to get to that level 6 point as soon as he possibly can. Everything else is pretty much dead even, though. Neither of these teams, once again, are really wanting to go at each other for early moves. Seems like they just have a very, very cautious approach to the game, and it just... again, shows how very new they are.
Yep. And, I mean, it's sort of just a testament to the picks that they had, especially the jungle picks. There's just not much room for early ganks there. can be early ganks from Rengar and Kha'Zix, but they're a little bit harder to pull off. They take a little bit more calculations, and it's more of a safer move just to go ahead and farm the jungle. And I guess that's where the part of being that those newer teams comes in. A little bit of action in the bot lane, but I don't think anything's really going to come of this.
Lova has to choose between kind of farming against Easy and dealing with Solo King, who made a little bit of a roam down to that bot side, unable to deal really well with Brandon, who's hit 6 right now, so it's getting to be a little bit dangerous for level 5 Maokai. He'll have to get that experience back somehow. But everything else continues to just sort of play it out, laning phase, very standard. Grenier is moving a little bit towards this bot side, but he's only level 4.
Oh, the shockwave use on the Easy in the mid.
Yep, yeah, that may be enough damage. I don't think so. The stun, oh, flashing forward, Lova. Does he have enough in the tank? No, he doesn't. He does force Easy to heal. Wow, and he's staying in lane.
I'm not sure if I like that aggression by Lova. I mean, he found a good shockwave, but since he didn't get a kill on that and he used both summoners, only exchanging the heal from Easy, it's gonna... That level 1 shockwave has a little bit of a longer cooldown. He's not going to be able to get those important Rengar ganks. Grenier wasting a little bit of time down here in the bottom lane. A good attempt at the gank, but it's so hard, yeah.
He got the bait right now. He does have a command protect on, but they will burn through that just easy. Speaking of easy, he's hanging out on the outside. Zenith going nuclear. Can he get the last shot of the right of the Arcanine? He doesn't need it. It's Mimo picking up first blood 7 minutes 20 seconds into this game. And it was a very, very long time coming.
Yeah, and I mean, a great pickup there, though. Like I said, just Lova not liking that aggression early on. That's not something that Orianna, I think, should be focusing on in the mid lane. Yeah, and she's not necessarily good at it. So, using the flash maybe a little bit prematurely, trying to gain the kill onto Easy, and that's going to cost her. It's going to be the first blood going over to Mimo, and that's going to be a big deal. That happened last game as well, but it was Grenier who was on the Kha'Zix, and he was able to pick up the first blood in the mid lane. So,
yep. Same thing also with Easy being on the over-aggressive Orianna. It's been very strange to see aggressive flashes used early on, and not really sure what the goal of those are, but it ends up playing into Zenith's favor this time around, as they are able to secure that first blood. So everything else being even, though, this is still a very close game. No dragon attempts have gone in from either side. Grenier just hit level 6, and he gets his red buff as well. Instead of ganking, though, he's going to go right back to base and buy.
Yep, and going to get a little bit more power. He does have the pink ward. The Boots of Mobility picked up, so goes ahead and rushes the Boots of Mobility straight after the Madras. Picks up a lot of vision, so you can tell he's really going to be gank heavy now that he's level 6. And we'll have to see. The Shockwave is available in the mid lane. Pretty much every summoner but Lova is available across the map for his team. So we'll have to see. This is the point where Rengar really needs to make an impact on the game, because if he doesn't find successful ganks in this mid lane, then it's really going to set his team far behind, because outside of that ultimate, outside of that initiation, Kha'Zix, I think, is just a more powerful jungler in most aspects.
Yep. Speaking of Kha'Zix, Mimo is waiting in the wings on the outside, but he decides to make a move away, and here comes Grenier in stealth. Easy is not biting on that one, and they won't really get much for their trouble, except maybe a red... Oh, here we go, Shockwave, the submarine goes in. Maybe they can. I don't know if they have enough damage, though. Grenier's low, Easy's low as well, but he gets the shot off. One more hit, he gets it. That's going to be one more pickup. Easy getting the kill, and Lova extremely low. Not enough health to be able to compete, and Easy gets away. Another kill picked up by Mimo, and it's 3-1 now in favor, now that a bot lane kill went down. K1, in all of the craziness, got fired down. Trance Therapy, of all people, picking up the kill. So quite a lot of action, two sides of the map.
What a great counter gank there by Mimo waiting in there. And once they realized that gank wasn't going to happen in that mid lane, once they realized that they weren't going to be able to catch Easy out in the open, I think they should have just backed off. Fighting that close to the turret is really dangerous, especially since they knew that Easy still had its flash available and Lova had nothing. I mean, they almost killed him, but they ended up getting a turnaround 2 kills for that. So, not a good trade for them, and they managed to pick up a kill in the bot lane, but they're falling behind 1k gold lead, and this is starting to look like last game.
Yep. Very, very aggressive focus on Easy, and considering how passively he did play that out, I'm surprised they were able to catch him, but, you know, the duration of that stealth really helped out there. Nonetheless, they still ended up going down, and a lot of money being spent on pink wards this side of the map for Zenith eSports. It really has helped them out. however, as they were able to effectively counter gank there. See what Cognitive answers with right now.
Yep. And thanks to Professor Milk for tweeting me out the correct solution for getting rid of the chat finally. I know you guys would like to see what the players are saying, but they're not saying anything, and it's just item purchases that you're seeing. So big shout out to him. 12 Azuma points to Professor Milk.
12 Azuma points.
Yep.
How do I get Azuma points?
You have to do nice things for me.
Ah.
Like Professor Milk did.
Well, alright. He's got tenure in your book, huh?
Yeah. And I have...
Oh. Here we go. The 1v1 up in the top lane. Solo King and Brandon. Brandon might be in a little bit of trouble here, but he is able to burst down the tree. I don't know. That is something that neither member wanted to take. And here we go. One more bubble up into the bot side here as Love Lava gets fired on by Easy. This is a very scattered engagement from both teams, and Easy is able to force Love Lava away. Dragon is up and available, of course, as it's been since it spawned. Corson flashes out now with the wave. It looks like it might be over in favor of Zenith eSports. Not a lot of health left in the tank here, but they're going to try. Cognitive looking to contest this one as they did previously in the game. Alex the Man is low. Oh, that's not the place you want to net over, but he does walk away from the Thresh Hook. And now it's Cognitive pushing their way towards this Dragon.
And Solo King's actually going to back off to base. So Brandon as well backed off to base. These guys are going to be at full strength when they decide to teleport into this fight. But it looks like, again, both teams just going to sort of play it safe, back off from the Dragon, and neither team's gonna go for this one right now. Zenith trying to trek in there, see if they can clear out some last second wards, but looks like neither team thinks that they have an advantage going into this mid-game team fight.
Yeah, and they'd be about right. Again, as it was last game, only 1,000 gold extra in the pocket of Zenith. It's not really going to buy them a lot, considering they're investing a lot of that already into warding. They do have the vision advantage as a result, but nonetheless, not really able to do that much over by the Dragon side, as they're very afraid of tangoing with Grenier and the rest of Zenith, or the rest of Cognitive right now. So if they can get themselves an advantage down in this bot side, pick off that tower finally, they might just do it, but there are a few more minutes timed on that ward. Mimo actually wants to start this one off, but it's spied out almost immediately.
Yep. And
good timing though.
Very good timing, and they're going to be able to take this one pretty easily. And this is just going to solidify their gold lead right now. They're about 2k gold ahead, which is
gives them a little bit extra.
It's larger than any gold lead that they had in the previous game that they still managed to win. So they're in a pretty good position.
Speaking of good positions, Solo King still doing pretty well against Brandon up in the top, and they're two very good late game scaling champions for very different reasons, but a slight advantage in favor of Solo King in the item department. Still, he's taking more poke.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit in Champion Select, but both these teams have very different objectives as far as late game team fights go. You mentioned they're both strong in the late game for different reasons. Solo King can be a real menace when it comes to initiating team fights and soaking up a lot of damage for himself and for his team. And Brandon is a sort of can soak up a lot of damage, but a different way. Whoa!
Was the money bubble, and Solo King is looking to try and take this one to the bank. Grenier's low. They get the teleport in for Brandon. It actually ends up being Alex going down. Solo King might have gone a little bit too hard in the paint, and he goes down as well. Zenith Easy looking to answer this one back. The fight's not over yet, but Mimo might be. Down he goes, and Easy too late to the party. It's a 3-0 in favor of Cognitive Gaming. Can they take down the tower? They're blinking low.
Such a close fight there. Lots of blinking health bars for Cognitive, and Zenith was on the verge of breaking that fight wide open, and Easy not getting that team fight as quick as his team would have liked. It was a little bit telegraphed from the point of Cognitive, and he didn't make it up there quick enough, and Love Lava reacted to seeing him leave the lane, so not able to land the ultimate ticks that he needed, and nobody dies, so that's going to be a huge swing. This game's tied up. Whoa, he picks one up!
There's the nuke. He manages to take down Trance Therapy, forcing Love Lava to flash. Can't believe this fight's been going on as Alex the Man looks for a little bit of revenge right now. See if they can't answer this one up. Love Love is still slow. There we go. One more shot should do it. There's the Caitlyn Q, and there's the ultimate. No intercepting for Zerbeck. I don't think he really wanted it that bad anyway, so they finally answer back, but still, slight gold lead in favor of Zenith, but they do lose a tower and all of that, and a very messy engage by both teams. Ends in a lot of blood.
And Brandon and Solo King still just trying to whack each other, but Mimo's joining the party.
Yeah, Solo King's already down. Brandon, however, is low, and Mimo, does he have enough in the tank left to finish him? He does. Shutdown gold going in favor of Kha'Zix. Meanwhile, 3 members of Zenith look to answer back on this turret. Grenier's here, leaving the Wolves alone, but I don't think he's there in time, late to the party. And all he can do is throw a bull out on K1. They might have enough damage to finish him. A lot of hooks flying, but they have to leave it alone.
So now this game is starting to be broke open a little bit. They do manage to pick up a couple more kills, though. And Zenith pushes themselves in the lead, but just barely. Turret's tied 1 for 1. And basically, the Dragon is what is holding this lead for Zenith in this game. So, but it's looking pretty even. I mean, Brandon is starting to do some work. He got 3 kills in those last couple engagements. He managed to trade 1 for 1 on that gank up at the top lane from Mimo. So he's got that Rod of Ages stacking. He's just going to start scaling into this late game. While at the same time, it is so hard for a Ryze to be able to take down a Maokai once he gets a couple of items, especially once he builds that first full magic resist item. So we'll have to see if they can manage to get the engagements on the primary targets that they need and not have to pump too much damage in the Soul King, or not unknowingly pump too much damage into the Soul King and letting Zenith take over the fight.
Well, all the advantage they have right now on the side of Zenith eSports has really been this aggressive and incredibly high yield warding here. And here we go, Brandon, he's in a little bit of trouble with the 2v1 right now. Doesn't have enough damage to be able to take down Mimo or Solo King, and he's just forced to run away from this one. Even with Grenier there, they'll be able to do it. That's a 4th kill going over to Mimo, who has just been helping to assassinate these members in isolated zones. And Zenith eSports takes themselves another kill this game.
Yeah, that's just a great gank right there. It's well timed because you know that the Dragon's down. You know that the mid lane turret, first tier turret, is down. So the next point of contention either has to be the bottom lane turret or the top lane turret, and you really want to stop Ryze from getting going. You ganked him once, and his summoners were down. You know that, so ganking him again is just really punishing. He's allowing Solo King to once again get ahead in CS, and opening up an opportunity for his team to push in the top lane. So Mimo has really been in the right place at the right time on the Cosmos this far in this game, and he's starting to make things happen.
With the focus switching up towards the top, with the outer turrets really not as healthy as they were a few minutes ago. Again, a lot of warding on the side of Zenith. They really track the movements incredibly well of their opponents, and they've been able to make these moves and keep them on the back foot for the time being. It's very, very impressive how they've been able to use that to their advantage. And even though they are spending quite a lot of that gold lead that they do have on those wards, they have been incredibly high yield. So the Dragon coming up in another minute. Zenith will be looking to take this one. They do not have the teleport advantage. It's pretty much dead even on that one. We'll see what they go for now as they're taking charge in this game.
And this is the problem that we've seen with underwhelming Rengars so far in North America. Grenier, he's been doing pretty well, but just hasn't been able to make anything happen with this ultimate. He got counter ganked on his first ultimate, and his second ultimate was a counter gank of his own that ended up being relatively successful, but he was a little bit late to the party and only managed to pick up 1 assist. So really looking for Grenier to make a very powerful engagement to try and get Cognitive back into this game. It's going to be tough though, because you mentioned Zenith is they're focusing a lot on making sure that the map is warded. They have pink wards on a lot of the important areas of their own jungle, making sure that Rengar can't get a flank. But here we go. This could be an opportunity.
The submarine, they're looking for it. Mimo's caught. He gets hooked in. There's the wave, but it doesn't even matter which jungler goes down first. Neither it would appear. Oh, wait, I spoke too soon. It's Grenier. Mimo staying alive. Shockwave coming in. Solo King trying to zone away as best he can. And so far, it's a 1 for none. But they're looking for round 2. No jungler available on the side of Cognitive Gaming. Alex the Man will fire off one more ace in the hole. See if they go towards this Dragon right now. Easy zoning out. Slight advantages every time for Zenith eSports.
Yeah, and that's just sort of that problem that I was talking about. Grenier's just not finding flank opportunities, and the ultimates that he's getting off are not optimal. He only caught Mimo out there, and against a team that can disengage as well as the Zenith team, with the Zenith and with the Nami, it's just so hard to be able to lock someone down long enough to kill them. They didn't have a quick enough shockwave follow-up. I mean, it was a great attempt, but they just weren't able to get around it enough, and just the initiation wasn't there, and it was close at the beginning, but Zenith ends up coming out really far ahead of that team fight. They pick up a couple kills, they pick up the Dragon as well, and they're going to pick up a turret. This game is starting to get broken open a little bit by Zenith, and they could be looking at coasting towards a 2-0 victory in their quarterfinal series.
Yeah, this is the largest lead that they've held in the series thus far. Also, excellent disengaging, utilizing the slow on Memo's Evolved W as they just completely back away from that one. Nice and easy. So 2 towers to 1. Pretty decent gold advantage in their favor. It's about 4,000 with that extra dragon that they managed to secure. And again, the warding comes up pretty handy for them to be able to take the angle that they wanted. Even if it was started by Cognitive. I mean, it looked bad for a minute, but that was really amazing team fighting.
Yeah, and they have to make sure that they keep it up, though, because as we saw in the last game, one Orianna ultimate can really change a game. It looked like Zenith was on the back foot in that last game, and then one Orianna ultimate from Easy just ended the game, changed the outcome, changed what looked like could have been the outcome. And the Zenith ultimate comes across.
Yeah, not enough to secure the blue buff, but they do make Cognitive think twice about taking the fight.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, he does secure it. Oh, actually, no, did he already have that one?
Got it. He already had that one.
Okay. Hard to tell sometimes.
Yep. Actually, I can't tell if that buff just started or if it's about to end. Okay,
somebody got it.
Yeah.
He wanted to refresh it.
The mystery. Okay, yeah, Grenier got it.
There we go. 5 members, all of Zenith making moves towards this top side. They should be able to take down the final outer turret if they stick around for it, but they are going to play this out very cautiously as they see Brandon and the rest of the team making moves up to there. Can you believe the number of pink wards they've invested in here? Look at this. All 5 of their available ones are just kind of hanging out. Or is that only 4?
Yeah. No,
still.
Well, there's 4, but the 5th one's on the map.
A lot. Yeah, I mean, it's just an amazing amount of vision over by this river and into the jungle of Cognitive Gaming, and they're just investing so much into this, and it's finally being spotted out by Trance Therapy and Brandon, but really, they just track every single movement of Cognitive right now.
Yeah, and this is really impressive. Not only the fact that they're getting the vision control, but just for the fact that they're playing the strengths of their team comp. I mentioned in Champion Select, if they get to a point where they're ahead, all they have to do is get vision control, look for the flank from Grenier, disengage effectively, and then they're just going to poke him out. As you can see, Easy's doing right here.
Him out. Yep. Oh, he might get the finish.
Whoa!
He does. 2-step that one.
Wow.
The Arcade picks Easy up. Another easy kill. And they keep on moving forward. 1 pick, 2 picks, and they keep going. Alex the Man, a little bit far forward. The rest of his team is already back to the tower. And Grenier is waiting in the wings, but they will wisely not press too far into enemy territory without backup.
That was incredibly impressive by Easy. His Zenith has been really solid thus far this game. 4-0-3. You can see that was a complete solo kill onto onto Orianna, which is pretty crazy. He landed all 3 ticks of his ultimate, which is really hard to do on Zenith. So Cognitive looking to respond with a little bit of a push after they see that Easy and Alex the Man are going to get it and go back, but it's just going to be a little bit of dent in this deficit that they've managed to find themselves in.
Let's see if they can't pull it back, but right now the only one doing relatively well in the kill department is Brandon. He's been the one locking up most of those for his team. Meanwhile, on the other side, 4 kills apiece for the jungler in mid. Easy really making a name for himself this game.
Yeah, there's one thing you also have to look at, though, is the CS discrepancy between the 80 carries. Zerbeck is about 70 CS ahead of Alex the Man now. That's sort of necessary because Alex the Man is going to do a lot more in the later game team fights than Zerbeck will, especially with the style of team that they have. So he's really got to make sure that he has solid positioning in order to have an effect, because right now it's just so tough. They want to look for engagements, but at the same time, Grenier just can't venture out too far away from his team to try and look for a flank or look for an engagement, because the ward coverage from Zenith is just so good at this point.
And their disengage is pretty incredible, as well as their poke, trying to scare away the members of Cognitive, and they will be able to grab themselves a red buff in the enemy jungle, just completely taking control of this game and running the pace as they want to. Cognitive needs to get back into this one. What can they do to really do it? Do they need to sneak a dragon like their opponents did or a baron like their opponents did last game, or do they just need to take that fight with the money shockwave?
They can go for a baron steal, but it sort of came at a perfect time for Zenith. They had just lost a fight, a little bit of skirmish, not enough to where they sort of gave Cognitive a false sense of security, but not enough to where they were still able to regroup and run towards that baron and take it quick enough before Cognitive could react. So I don't think Cognitive is going to find themselves in a similar position, just because, like I said, the disengage potential from Zenith and the vision control that they have, it's going to be so hard for Zenith not to realize that Cognitive will have an opportunity to do the baron in this fight. And they're they're doing well. They're rotating across the mid and the bottom lane, using their poke, using the range and their siege potential effectively. And eventually these turrets are going to fall, and there's just nothing that Cognitive can do about it.
Protecting their vision pretty well, too, with the way they've been able to body block when things
Definitely.
are coming up. But here we go. Easy caught on a line. No follow-up available, and Trance Therapy is the one that takes the poke. This tower is getting fired upon right now, but they're playing as safe as they can. Alex takes a little bit of damage on his own end. Do they have enough to finish this one up? Love. Trance Therapy is low as well. Here comes Brandon. The wave coming in. It's only going to knock up Grenier, but that is an ultimate for an ultimate. And if they want to take a fight, they just might be able to do it. A lot of key spells are down. Trance, he has to flash. One more Zenith ultimate. Can he two-step it? Heal comes up. Not enough. It's going to be Trance Therapy going down. Easy with another over-the-top kill. 5-0-3 on the game.
Easy is just completely controlling the map all by himself. You can see they're so Cognitive is so hesitant to engage, and every time they look for an opportunity, Easy just hits them with a stun, or hits them with one of those Qs that are chunking for a quarter of their health right now. Easy is just completely controlling this game right now, and his Zenith play has been just incredibly impressive. And you can tell the awareness by Zenith in these games. I mean, they go for that turret, but as soon as they realize that they're in a little bit of danger, they sense the ultimate from Grenier, and immediately the wave comes out and they disengage. Cognitive stuck around too long, and Easy just completely capitalized on a little bit of mispositioning from Trance Therapy. This is just very impressive from Zenith, and if they can keep this up, this game is going to be in the bag for them. It could be a little bit of a longer one just because of how their team comp works, but they're playing it really well right now.
Yep. As it stands right now, a pretty solid gold lead in the favor of Zenith eSports, and even with all the members of Cognitive making moves together, they have been unable to string together a decent fight for a while here. This is looking a little bit troublesome for them.
Yep. And you can just tell the amount of practice that Zenith has probably put into similar team comps. They're at the top of the challenger ladder currently. I think they're number 2 behind that the We Love Shakir team that has all those challenger players that have had many rumors surrounding them for the past week or so.
In all fairness, that should be the highest ranked team. Should be We Love Shakira.
Yeah.
Come on, you can't really beat that.
Well, you can tell that Zenith has put in a lot of practice, and I mean we are going to see them coming up in the expansion tournament. So this could be one of those teams that takes everybody by surprise coming into this, because they're playing pretty impressively. Now COG, can't count them out. Like I said, a great shockwave in the series. If Grenier does manage to find a good engagement, they can come back, just because Zenith just doesn't have a way to brute force this game without getting a counter engage. Yeah, they rely on counter engage, they rely on getting pickoffs and poking down. So if Cognitive managed to get a couple good hard engages, Zenith could fall in this one.
Yeah, but a lot of those have been kind of chalked up to positioning errors, right, on the side of Cognitive, and that's really what's allowed Zenith to get this lead and continue to extend it here. And you can just tell the caliber of play is starting to show differences, with Easy able to do as much work on that Zenith as he was on Orianna, and Love has yet to really land anywhere near that kind of shockwave.
Yeah.
They did manage to get a nice gank off early, but it just seems like it's always a day late and a dollar short. Here we go, 5 members down on the bot side. When one team steps left, the other steps right, and it's Zenith that comes out with a tower on the top, using the Maokai to zone as effective as possible, and they are able to walk away for free.
Just a tiny lapse in focus by Cognitive, and they lose a turret. And that's how the team comp works from Zenith. And I mean, you were talking about Love and just not many shockwaves. He has 0% kill participation in this game. Now, that's 0 for 5, so there hasn't been many kills from Cognitive side as it is, but Love has not even been able to rack up an assist thus far in his game. He's 40 CS behind his mid lane counterpart, and if we can take a look at the gold for a second, there's almost a 4k gold difference between Love and Easy. That's huge. That's more than one full complete late game item that the mid laners have the difference in. So I mean, as the longer this game goes, the better of a chance that they'll have, just because their ability to hard engage is a little bit better. But it's just looking grim right now because Zenith is just doing a great job of sort of suffocating them. Their vision is lapsing right now. They did get that turret. They had to back, so it gave Cognitive a chance. So if they're going to make something happen, it's got to be soon.
I don't know if they're going to get a chance for it here. It's just everything that Zenith is doing is able to get them a little bit more ahead in this game, and they're eyeballing the Baron buff right now. Might start this dance off, but it might be a really quick one if Zenith decides to rush up. But they do have the damage, they do have the lead. Let's see if they can lock this game up right now. Cognitive is really scared to react on here, and rightly so. Every time they check something, there you go, Trance Therapy taking a little bit more damage as well. Zoning Ultimate going to burn through the Command Protect of Love Lava, and that is going to be Zenith just saying this is our territory.
Yeah, I said it before. Easy is just controlling this map single-handedly.
Oh, they're gonna try.
Here we go.
5 members. There's a teleporter for Soul King, but he's not there. Trance is gonna flash forward. They're going to try and get something, but they do not have enough. And there we go. After all that's blown, Easy is going to make a little bit more happen. Trance is low as well. It's going to force Love Lava to send a ball out defensively. And all the while this is happening, Solo King just continues to prove true to his name, pushing on forward without any contest. This could be a Baron attempt by Zenith.
They know that the Rengar ultimate's down, so the main form of initiation from Cognitive is not going to be available for this dragon fight, so this should be pretty easy. The Scrying Orb comes out, but I just don't think they have the ability to go in. They can wait for them to get low.
Oh, goodness. Here we go. There's the engage. Solo King comes in, and he does get his ultimate off as well, but he takes a lot of poke in return. Shockwave only going to land on him. Brandon on the backside. I don't know if he's got enough damage to take him down, though, and he has to burn his flash. Doesn't quite make it over the wall. Down he goes, and Easy making it look easy himself. Here comes Mimo. It's a 5v4 right now. They're a little bit low, but they're going for it. Love Lava trying to run away as fast as he can, but they're scattered right now, and Zerbeck having to move away as well. Alex the man flashing and netting. One more shot should do it, but Trance intercepts. Easy trying to finish it off, but he doesn't have the damage, and he gets pulled in by Trance Therapy. Nonetheless, they're still pushing on forward, and only one kill. That is how it's going to end. Now we're going to see Baron attempt round 2.
These teamfights are just being played so well by Zenith. They are just waiting for an opportunity to engage when they know that Cognitive has no choice but to be moving forward, and they've just played around these Rengar ultimates so well. And with Easy just firing from the back line, there's just not much they can do. The Shockwave only landed on Solo King, and it was just a nightmare team fight for Cognitive in that game. They are going to be able to defend off this Baron, but the goal lead is just getting ever so slightly bigger for Zenith, and the team fights just aren't looking good for COG.
Yep, they have been able to just barely keep the lead from going out of control, but the cracks are starting to show right now as Cognitive really just looks haphazardly scattered around whenever they try to fight. Rengar Ultimate does come back on up, but there is vision being cleared out now by Zenith, and they really do want this Baron. Meanwhile, the Dragon does go down thanks to Zerbeck and Grenier, so that gives them a little bit of breathing room. Still, they're having trouble fending any of this off, and if Zenith wants to go for the kill, they might just have enough power to do it soon.
We're getting a little bit further into this game. It's been pretty slow pace. I mean, it seems like Zenith has had a really great hold on it, but it's taking them a while to finish it. They only have one second tier turret down. No inhibitors taken yet. No Barons taken yet. And so they're playing it slow. That's sort of how they have to play with the team fight. But, I mean, Cognitive is still clawing their way, keeping themselves in this game. Easy has finished that Zonia's Hourglass, though, so that sort of gets rid of some of the initiation power from the Rengar Orianna combo. Gives Zenith a little more time to disengage. Alex the man is just using those ace in the holes all willy-nilly.
Yep. Well, he does have a decent bit of time to burn before they get back to that. Love Lava does cancel it out with the Command Protect, but nonetheless, forcing them to use that spell if they do want to engage on it after the fact. I mean, it's almost like it's not about the damage. It's about sending a message.
Yep.
The message is, get out of our lane.
Yeah.
We're coming for you.
Or the message is, I misclicked R.
That would be a much less threatening message, I suppose.
It's
Vision game, though, has been kind of getting a little sloppy now for both teams. They sort of neglect, after the Baron dance, to really follow up with it. I know Zenith is still controlling the pace of this one, but they're also revealing a little bit of some of their weaknesses as well. I mean, they really could have taken a lot more on the back of those fights.
They're playing very cautiously, and I said this is the right way they have to play this team, but right now, all four of them are just sitting in mid lane. They're not trying to gain vision of anything. They're not trying to control the Baron. They're not trying to siege up any turrets. They're just sitting in the mid lane and waiting for Cognitive to make the move. I mean, Soul King is down there split pushing, living up to his name, but I mean, how far is a Maokai going to be able to get in a split push scenario? So it's tough.
Yeah, they want to buy some time, and they are getting little catches here and there. Here we go. Love does take one more shot as he does get the Lantern out to safety. They really need to start something aggressive right now here. Solo King has teleport available. Rune Prison is down. Will he spend it? No, he wants to try and fight and walk this one out. The Baron is just cleared on vision, and Zenith doesn't really know which way they want to go here. Trance is in a little bit of trouble. He's going to get jumped on. Down he goes. It's going to be a pickup by K1, and a teleport in from Solo King is going to make Grenier and Zerbeck scatter. Here they go, moving for the Baron right now. Pinging out the second-tier mid-turret, though, is Cognitive. Zerbeck and Grenier making moves to try and kill this one, see if they can't get the steal off. Zenith is really slow to react on this one, and they don't even want to go for the Baron. They're just trying to fake it out. They really need to start it, and here they go, but everyone is collapsing on the side of Cognitive. They may be down a member, but nonetheless, this could be a steal attempt. Grenier is coming around the backside of the Baron pit. This fight is going to be really haphazard if they decide to take it. Vision is on, and that's enough to scare Zenith away.
And they're playing to their strengths. They're backing off. They're making smart decisions, but at the same time, they're not really gaining anything. They're getting these picks, but the gold lead turrets here. Yeah, the gold lead a few minutes ago was actually 7K. Cognitive is actually shortening the gold lead. If they manage to trade inhibitors here, that's actually a big win for Cognitive, because the mid inhibitor is a little bit more important than the top set inhibitor, especially since it's on the Baron side.
Oh, absolutely, and they're clearing faster too.
Yeah.
Now, they will go for the inhibitors. They're going to trade this one up, so this is going to be Cognitive clawing their way back in this game, as you mentioned, and in an amazing turn of events because of how far down they were. Right now, Zenith needs to get back to base. The Nexus towers are being fired on by Brandon and Zerbeck, and there's no contest. So here we go. Alex the Man, Solo King coming back, but they've been out mind-gamed on this one, and they're losing Nexus turrets. There might be super minions going, but that doesn't even matter at this point. One more shot should do it. They do take it down. Down it goes. Oh, Zerbeck's in trouble. Can they answer this one back? Alex is low. Has to net away. Oh, he goes down. One more flash forward from Brandon, and they're going to trade carry for carry, but it will be a double kill going over to Easy. And in the meantime, what can Zenith do from here? Because they've really let a huge gap in their sight go through.
So a lot of their turret killing potential has gone away with Alex the Man actually going down there. That was a big deal, Brandon being able to flash in and pick up that kill. But that was a huge call by Cognitive there to keep two members behind and go for those Nexus turrets. That's going to bring them back into this game, and it opens up the possibility of a backdoor, which is always going to be at the back, or always needs to be at the back of Zenith's mind when they're making aggressive pushes. So now they're probably going to have to play even more passively, and that opens up opportunities for Cognitive to find those engages that they've been looking for and make the calls that they need to win this game. So Zenith sort of letting a little bit too much slide here as they're looking to try and close out this game. Trading inhibitor for inhibitor is not something that you want to do when you're this far ahead and when you have the stronger sieging and disengaging team comp. So, but you have to think about it. There was really no other option in that scenario. They had already committed to the top lane, and it was just a good move by Cognitive to sort of force their hand and either say, hey, you guys can back now and give us an inhibitor turret, maybe more, or you can trade us inhibitors. And, I mean, Zenith took the trade inhibitors route, but Cognitive comes out, I think, way ahead in that.
Oh yeah, massive swing while they were able to get those turrets as well, and that puts them the gold gap a little bit closing, and here they come for the chase. Solo King is actually caught out. There goes the shockwave. They're going to spend it all on Maokai, and they do get him. Also the ultimate out of K1, and they're looking for more right now. Invigorated by that power swing, they're going to go straight over towards the Baron, and this might be Cognitive getting themselves back into this one. We could be going to game number 3 if they do secure this one up. Zenith playing so cautiously on the back foot now, and they might be about to lose their lead.
Yeah, this Baron is going down super fast, and
we could see a steal, though. It's not going to happen. Grenier, he gets the Baron secure for his team, only losing half his health in the outside of that one. Zenith eSports letting the game just slowly slip through their fingers now. They need to be able to defend this one with a Baron 5-man Cognitive team breathing down their necks and no Nexus towers to show for it.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Zenith. They were playing their team comp so well, then all of a sudden they just sort of grouped in the mid lane and gave up any attempt at gaining back map control. Then they make the call to trade inhibitors. Solo King gets caught out. I mean, that's not the most explosive of initiations from Grenier and Love Lava. but it got the job done. I mean, they were able to pick off Solo King. Zenith was not in a position to follow up on that fight, and this puts them way back into this game. I mean, like I said, at any point in this game, it opens up opportunities for Cognitive to just push up the middle and end the game quickly, especially now that we have late game items. They're going to do a lot of damage to Inhibitor, a lot of damage to Nexus. One wrong move from Zenith, and this game could be over. So Cognitive, now that they have this Baron buff, we'll see what they're going to do with it. Their cooldowns are short, so they have the opportunity to try and make engages.
Well, it's gone from a 5,000 gold gap to a 500 one, as Cognitive Gaming has climbed their way right back into this game. The Inhibitor will be back up, but I think at this point, with the gold that they've been able to get spent into those items, Cognitive might just be willing to push this one in. They do have the Baron buff still available. Zenith eSports really doesn't look interested in taking one of these fights. All those catches, all those plays seem to have been for naught, as they are reduced to just sitting inside their base and waiting for Cognitive to make the first move.
And again, Zenith do have a good disengage combo. So if they're grouped up, if they have good positioning with these teams, they should be able to disengage a fight effectively. But I think it's going to be up to Cognitive whether or not they can find these engagements. If Grenier can get a flank off on these ones, all of his initiations have come just straight from the backline of his team, just like this one. And he just hasn't been able to make things happen doing that. If he manages to somehow get behind Zenith, he could really explode a fight if they can follow it up with a good shockwave.
Well, they're going to get a wave here, and they're going to catch Trance Therapy, but I don't think they want to try and commit to this one fully. Meanwhile, the Winians will be marching forward and retake the Inhibitor for Zenith eSports, and that might have been a little bit of a confidence booster, see if they can go forward with this one. It's going to force Cognitive to back and defend their base, because it's just an extremely large wave led by an old super minion here. Can Zenith keep them busy, however? I don't think they're going to be able to. Grenier is the one moving back to base right now. 5v4, can they take down this tower?
That's a little bit of wave mismanagement from Cognitive. I don't know if they got a little bit overconfident with the Baron buff. They made a poor engagement and lost an inhibitor for it.
Mimo. There's a shockwave. Maybe not as good as last game, but it does force them to think twice as they do back away from that one. Meanwhile, Easy was able to secure up the one more pick. He's perfect this game, 9-0, but his team has been anything but in the later stages of this game. So although they win the fight, they're still treading thin water.
Yeah, that's an impressive score from Easy. 9-0-4 on Zenith.
He's been the backbone of the team, man. I mean,
yeah,
really. This guy has been really enabling everything that they've done.
Most of the objectives that they've gotten were off the back of a pick from Easy. I mean, he picked up a solo kill onto Love in the
I can't believe
mid-game
Nemo
there.
didn't go down there.
Yeah, that
was so close. Well, and Alex the man, the shockwave is starting to get really deadly here, and you know, it was really good timing for Zenith, just because Grenier wasn't in the area. Now Solo King, he's in trouble. He's going to go down. The wave's coming out just a little bit too late from K1, and that will be one kill. 62 seconds on the respawn timer for the Solo King, and they have to back away while the Baron buff is still active.
It's just pick after pick. I mean, these guys are going at it. It was the same thing last game. They'd engage a team fight. One person would die, two person would die, they'd back off. They'd play it cautious again. It was only that shockwave that allowed them to end the game. And this game, we just haven't seen that explosive initiation. Both teams just trading blows back and forth. And neither team is willing to go for those big, risky engagements. They're sort of taking the safe way out every time. And that's why we find ourselves 45 minutes into this game with less than 1,000 gold deficit between these two teams.
Yeah, Zenith is starting to wake up just a little bit more now that they've, realized that they still have a chance this game. I think they have to wait out. The remainder of the Baron buff looks like it just expired, so should be a little bit better for them here. But they need to be taking fights better than the way they have, and those wombo combos have been hurting them.
Yep. And I mean,
no rise right now.
Yeah, we're back to this standoff here. Cognitive having a little bit of better wave management this time, sending Brandon up to that top lane to clear out those super minions, having to fight against the stronger super minion wave, and Zenith not really getting much out of this opportunity that they had with this inhibitor down, with this mismatch of their inhibitor up, COG's inhibitor down. And I mean, we have Baron in a minute, but these teams don't look like they're willing to give the other team an inch in this game.
Yeah, with all 5 members of Zenith here, you'd think they could siege a little bit more than they're doing. They're trying to find an easier way in, but it's just not being given to them. Cognitive realizing that they can defend just fine with the Oriana Shockwave, and as well as the culling as well is a really, really useful tool for keeping those waves back. But instead, they go for the easy route, and they're looking to set up for this dragon. However, this might get traded for a Baron if Cognitive realizes what's happening. A minute on the timer there. A couple members of Zenith trying to head that one off here.
Yeah, Dragon is sort of just a drop in the bucket at this stage in the game. Everybody's nearing max level. A lot of the carries are nearing max items, so that little bit of gold not going to help much at this point in the game. And going forward, it's all going to come down to how these guys move across the map and how they're going to initiate the fights. And again, Cognitive finds himself in a position where
big wave pushing against them.
Yeah, their wave management just hasn't been on point, and that's sort of people underestimate the power of managing your waves in the later stages of the game. Having a huge wave pushing into your turret, especially this close to a Baron being spawned, it's not something that you want to do. If that Baron was 5-10 seconds earlier, that could have been really bad for them to have that huge wave pushing into their bottom turret with an open inhibitor on the other side of the map and having the Baron being up. So have to be a little bit better about that as this game progresses if they're going to want to find opportunities in this game.
Yep. Meanwhile, try to find another in towards this tower, but it still stands completely unscratched. Zerbeck, however, taking a little bit of poke on the backside of that. And here we go. Zenith going nuclear. Can he finish him off? Nope. Don't think so. That will be one more shot going down, but it's only going to scratch the surface of Cognitive's health bars. Making a move towards this Baron. It looks like we're ready to tango. If they can do it, they are going to start this one up right away, or rather just take it out. Here we go. And Cognitive has to know this is happening right now. They're not reacting very quickly to it. This Baron's health bar is going down incredibly quickly, and instead, they're just very slowly peeling towards it. This Baron is going to go down, and it goes in favor of Zenith eSports. Meanwhile, all 5 members here now are starting to run headlong towards this one inhibitor. Should be able to secure it up. 5-man backs. Can they stop the ports? Lava is going to try to head him off. Easy gets the pick off quite easily right there, but still 3 members of Cognitive managed to secure up this inhibitor, but the noose might be tightening. 2 more members of Zenith eSports making moves down the spot side. Here are the remaining members of Cognitive. Alex might have gotten a little bit too far forward. The wave's coming out. Mimo's here. Grenier, he's Higgins. Mimo regret his decisions, but Grenier's low as well. Here comes Solo King. Do they have the damage? Can they end the game? They get a bubble up. Solo King flashing over the wall. They're disengaging. They do get a kill. Pick off Grenier. He's down. That's 2 kills for none. And they got the Baron. Can they march forward? It doesn't look like they'll be able to do it just yet. And they only get that for all their trouble. But what a close call for Cognitive Gaming after all of that.
It just very poorly timed. They were late on trying to trade the inhibitor for the Baron. They just didn't have good enough vision on that side of the map. They had no idea that Zenith was even starting up the Baron, and that's just a sort of a sense that you have to have in these types of close games as it gets later and later. So 30 seconds still left on Grenier. They have an open inhibitor and a Baron buff now. Easy as 10-0-5. You saw how fast Lava died. That was just one combo, a stun land from Easy, and Lava had no chance, especially without zoning.
Easy might not either. There goes his perfect game. Down he falls. That's going to be another pick off. Solo King going to try to zone out for his team. All of a sudden, like
there's an open nexus.
Down. This could be trouble. Can they back and defend in time? Grenier's up in 7 seconds. Yeah, this might be the time for Cognitive to try and end this game. But they do have to worry about that middle inhibitor being down.
No, this is a completely open nexus. They can literally run up the mid lane and go for this nexus. That inhibitor is freshly fallen. There's still 2 or 3 minutes before this is going to fall. They have to fight against these super minions, like you said, but they're going to have a 5-man team going against a 3-man team. And Easy, the backbone of this team thus far this game, the person that's been the one in control of getting all these picks, the hook lands on Alex!
Oh, he's able to get away just barely. They do give up a tower up top to the minions, but here comes Cognitive. Can they end this game? They're getting poked out. Alex is caught. There he goes. Shockwave coming in. That's Grenier going to help him secure that kill up. It's only Mimo and K1 left, and this is going to be game number 2. Going over to Cognitive. They even up the series.
And just like that, a hook lands onto Easy, gets killed before he can even use the Zonus Hourglass, and that's it. Both games thus far have been decided by just one single team fight, even throughout the whole game. You look at the end screen for this game, it is 74.1k to 74.1k. So the ending to that game was just sort of
who has the better fight? Yeah, the Shockwave decided it all. Well, it was mostly Rengar, but still, I mean, that was a really abrupt ending to a game that really got off to an incredibly slow start.
Yeah, and I mean, oh wow, that's got to be heartbreaking for Zenith, because you got to think they had control of that game for most of it. They had a 6K gold all the way up until about the 40-minute mark, where they gave up that Baron, and even pushing down at that last point, they had the Baron buff. They had 5 members of their team at full health. Easy gets caught by a hook. Solar King gets caught out as well. And because of that one decision that they made earlier in the game to trade those inhibitors, giving those 2 Nexus turrets up to Cognitive was what allowed them to finish that game right there.
Yep. So Zenith will have to sit and think long and hard about how they really just piddled that gold lead away, and they will have another chance to extend into this tournament, but Cognitive might be revitalized by that win. Guys, it's a 1-1 series. We'll have to see who wins it after this. We'll be taking a quick couple-minute break. When we come back, the final match of Cognitive Gaming versus Zenith eSports in the Black Monster Cup Fall.